Hello, my people. Good day to you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whatever time zone you're listening to this, thank you for tuning in every single day to listen to me on Daily Mind Shift. My name is Michael Ojola for Mindset Transformation Africa. And on today's episode, I want us to talk about a quote about anger generally, but give me a minute. All right, I welcome you once again. Let me anchor today's episode on this statement. The longer the distance from stimulus to response, the better your response will be. Give your senses time to return in highly emotional interactions. The longer the distance from stimulus to response, the better your response will be. Give your senses time to return in highly emotional interactions. That is what I want us to talk about in a few short minutes. See, life as we know it is filled and full of moments that trigger our emotions, moments that trigger our emotions intensely, moments of joy, moments of frustration, moments of anger, or even moments of sadness. These emotional stimuli can prompt immediate reactions from us, and they are often driven by our initial impulses, our initial unfiltered, immature, let me put it that way, immature impulses. However, what I'm proposing today is, what if we took a moment to pause, to create a gap between the stimulus and our response? What if we take a moment and just pause? How might this practice alter the quality of our interactions? How might this practice alter the quality of our decisions? And that is exactly what I want us to think about today. Let us first clarify what we mean by the stimulus-response gap. See, stimulus refers to any event or situation that provokes a reaction from us. Any event or situation that provokes a reaction from us. This could be anything from a heated argument to a stressful email from work, a very distressing message on your WhatsApp, or even a joyous celebration. See, it's about a situation that provokes a reaction. The response is how we react to the stimulus. Whether we reacted through words or actions or even our internal thoughts, there is always going to be a response. In many cases, our responses are almost instantaneous. We most times make respond to any situation immediately. Someone cuts us off in traffic and we honk the horn in frustration, all right? A colleague criticizes our work and we snap back defensively, argumentatively, or even abusively. These immediate reactions are often driven by our emotional brain. That is the part that handles instinct and rapid responses. While this quick response mechanism can be beneficial in situations that require we respond to things immediately, it can also lead to regrettable decisions in more bespoke or emotional interactions. See, the stimulus-response gap is the intentional space that we create between experiencing a stimulus and choosing how to respond. This gap allows us to engage our rational brain, our thinking brain. It enables us to think more clearly. It enables us to evaluate the situation and respond in a way that aligns with our values, a way that aligns with our principles, and also our long-term goals. See, there is always a science behind everything nowadays also. There is a science behind this pause. There is a science behind why pausing can lead to better responses. Our brains are equipped with an emotional center known as the amygdala, which plays a crucial role in processing our emotions. When we encounter a stimulus that provokes a strong emotional response, that part of our brain can trigger what is known as amygdala hijack. All right, where our rational brain is bypassed in favor of an immediate and emotional reaction. So that is exactly what I want us to control. By taking a moment to pause, we can engage the prefrontal cortex, the part of our brain that is responsible for thinking, for higher order thinking, for reasoning, for self-control. That is the prefrontal cortex. This allows us to move past our immediate emotional impulses and consider a more measured, a more thoughtful responses. So, how do we incorporate? What are the practical strategies that we can use to create and maintain this particular pause? We need to learn how to be mindful. Mindfulness is important. That is the practice of bringing your attention to the present moment without judgment. It is important to cultivate that. By cultivating mindfulness, we become more aware of our thoughts, of our emotions as they arise. And that gives us greater control over how we choose to respond. One of the most important mindfulness techniques is to focus on your breathing. When you feel a strong emotion rising within you, take a few breaths, all right? Take a few deep breaths. This simple act can help calm your nervous system, and it will create a moment of pause before you respond. Another technique is to count to 10. That's a classic response, and it works because it forces you to delay your reaction. Counting to 10 gives you time to process the stimulus and engage your rational brain. As you count, you focus on each number. You breathe slowly. You breathe deeply, because that, I believe, will help reduce the intensity of your emotions and most time provide clarity. And if 10 doesn't work for you, 20 will. If 20 doesn't, count to 30. The most important thing is when you are counting, you focus on those numbers. You don't focus on how you feel, you focus on the numbers. Do you understand me? And you take deep and slow breath. All right. Also, during that pause moment, one thing you can do is to think about your values. When you are faced with an emotional stimulus, you need to take a moment to think about your principles, to think about your core values. You ask yourself, how do I want to respond in a way that aligns with my values? How do I want to respond? Do you understand? How do I want to respond in a way that aligns with the person that I want to be? This particular moment of reflection can guide you to respond in a manner that is consistent with your personal integrity, with your long-term goals. Do you understand me? So reflect on your values. Another thing I will advise is to step away. Take a step away if necessary. Take a step away. Sometimes the best way to create a gap is to physically remove yourself from the situation. If possible, step away from the source of that emotion, from the source of that stimulus. Go for a walk. Find a quiet place, or maybe engage in an activity that helps you to relax, maybe swimming, maybe dancing. Just engage in something that will take you out of that situation so that you regain your composure. See, this physical distance can provide the mental space that is needed to process your emotions and to choose a more thoughtful response. See, as we draw this episode to a close, I want to tell you this. There are benefits to this. There are benefits to this. By consistently practicing this approach of delaying, creating a gap between stimulus and response, you develop greater self-awareness. You develop greater emotional regulation. You develop greater interpersonal skills. These qualities will help develop you as a person. When you regularly practice pausing before responding, you become better at regulating your emotions. You learn to recognize your emotional triggers and manage them more effectively. It also helps with your decision making. By engaging your rational brain, you make more thoughtful and informed decisions. You are less likely to make impulsive choices that you might later regret. Instead, you consider the potential consequences of your actions and you choose your responses accordingly. And that will help you to build stronger relationships. It will help you to develop greater resilience. As we go today, remember this. The longer the distance from stimulus to response, the better your response will be. So by giving your senses time to return in highly emotional interactions, you harness and develop the power of mindfulness, of emotional regulation, and most importantly, of thoughtful decision making. So go and practice this thing today.